Hey, this is the silent producer Rich back again with another video for that Goat Metal Show. Today I wanted to talk about influential metal albums that have come out over the years that have influenced me into getting into metal. In no particular order, I'll talk about each of these albums and genres. One of the first vinyls that I ever purchased was Black Sabbath Paranoid. Very good album from the 70s that introduced me to doom and early heavy metal. Then in 1984, Power Slave from Iron Maiden got me into new wave of British heavy metal. Very good album. In the 80s, Morbid Tales, Celtic Frost introduced Switzerland extreme metal style. Very good early album. Possessed from the West Coast brought in an early mix of thrash and early death metal with Seven Churches. Definitely check it out. SOD with Speak English or Die, mid-80s crossover hardcore with thrash, with members of different bands collaborating. 1986 Morbid Visions from Sepultura ushered in a Brazilian sound of blackened thrash that took over metal. I love Slayer, and Slayer's greatest album is Rain and Blood, pure speed thrash, 1987, ahead of its time. Scream Bloody Gore from Death, rest in peace Chuck, one of the first cassettes that introduced me into death metal. Incredible album. Scum from Napalm Death, aggressive grindcore from England. Check it out. Taking it back to New York, Retaliation from Carnivore, another crossover classic that's to be checked out featuring Peter Steele from Typo Negative. Another album that was wild, introduced me to gore grind, was Reek of Putrefaction from Carcass. Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche was a progressive album in the 80s that moved forward the genre with a concept album. Altars of Madness from Morbid Angel introduced keyboards to death metal and really moved the scene forward in 1989, a must-check-out album. Ministry, The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, bringing in electronic sound to industrial metal. Godflesh Street Cleaner brought in the sound of industrial machinery. Your Relentless Grindcore Terrorizer, World Downfall. Definitely check this one out. Pestilence with Consuming Impulse, pure death metal mixed with hints of thrash. Autopsy with Severe Survival introduced the sound of Death Doom for me in 89. Bolthrower with Realm of Chaos, another album to look for from the 80s. Extreme vocals are brought in the 90s with Obituary's Cause of Death. DSI brought in brutal death metal style from Florida in the 90s. Swedish death metal took over with Entombed's Left Hand Path, a must for every metal collection. Goth metal sound was brought in by Peter Steele with Typo Negative, slow, deep, and hard. Effigy of the Forgotten from Suffocation, Long Island brutal death metal, also known to bring in the slam riff. Immortal, pure Holocaust, the Norwegian invasion of the second wave of black metal. Late 90s had Devourment with Molesting the Decapitator representing slam. And as a bonus mention, Pig Destroyers, Terrifier 2004, another great grindcore album. That's it today for the silent producer Rich for that Goat Metal Show. Don't forget about this Sith Lord's merch on Facebook.